Hello, everyone. Okay, this is our advanced ESL class. Okay, last week we worked on module 1, which was education, focused on education. So we are going to do a quick review of the objectives from module 1, and then we are going to look at the objectives for module 2, which is emergencies, as well as lesson 1. Okay, so let me share my screen with you here. Right here. Okay, perfect. So if you look up here at the top, it says review module 1, which was education. Okay, so last week we learned how to report an absence. Okay, we talked about different ways to do it. For example, calling or sending an email. Okay, we also talked about reasons for missing an appointment or a meeting. Okay, it could be like I am sick, the babysitter is sick, I broke my arm. Okay, providing personal information. We learned how to fill out a student registration form. We learned how to discuss progress at school, and we also talked about ways to improve progress at school. Okay, all of this was stuff that we worked on last week in module 1. Okay, today we will start module 2, which is called emergencies. Okay, situation 1 or lesson 1 is called contacting emergency services. Okay, so our objectives will be to identify the different types of emergencies, decide who to call for help in an emergency, and giving information to 911. Okay, so I am going to hop on over to our actual lesson. I am going to turn this camera off like I do, just because it helps keep you from getting distracted from my movement. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video, stop the camera, and then show you my screen. All right. Okay, first part is words. It says practice these words. Listen, then record yourself. Okay, of course we're not going to record ourselves because that's a really hard thing to do for us. So what we're actually going to do is we're just going to practice the words, and then we will do the practice at the bottom, okay? So the first part is bank robbery. Okay, first word.
Bank robbery.
Bank robbery.
Bank robbery. Carry a gun.
Carry a gun.
Carry a gun. Mask.
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 And don't forget to be repeating these words and practicing them.
Speed away.
Speed away.
Speed away.
Next word is fire.
Spread.
Spread.
Spread. The fire spread.
The fire spread.
The fire spread. Trapped.
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 Okay, next words are hurricane words.
Flooded.
Flooded.
Flooded. Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Hurricane. Upper floor.
Upper floor.
Upper floor.
Okay, now let's look at medical emergencies.
Ambulance.
Ambulance.
Ambulance. Breathe.
Breathe.
Breathe. Chest pain.
Chest pain.
Chest pain. Heart attack.
Heart attack.
Heart attack.
Okay, now let's look at general. General.
911.
911.
Emergency.
Emergency.
Emergency. Front door.
Front door.
Front door. Getting closer.
Getting closer.
Getting closer. Location.
Location.
Location. Rescue squad.
Rescue squad.
Rescue squad.
Okay, now let's look at this practice.
Mask.
Okay, mask. What is mask in Spanish? Mask. Máscara.
Carry a gun.
Carry a gun. Llevar una pistola.
Spread.
Spread. Extenderse.
Flooded.
Flooded. Inundado.
Location.
Location. Lugar, ubicación.
Hurricane.
Hurricane. Huracán.
Upper floor.
Upper floor. Piso superior.
Rescue squad.
Rescue squad. Equipo de rescate.
Getting closer.
Getting closer. Acercarse más.
Chest pain.
Chest pain. Es dolor en el pecho. Good job. Let's go number 2. Trapped. What is trapped? Atrapado o atrapada. Next one is location. Location. Locación o ubicación. Front door. What is front door? Puerta principal. Heart attack. What is heart attack? Ataque al corazón. Mask. What is mask? Máscara. Getting closer. Getting closer. Acercarse más. Carry a gun. Llevar una pistola. Speed away. Salir corriendo a toda velocidad. The fire spread. El fuego se extendió. And breathe or respirar. Okay, good job. Let's get number 3. Match the translation. Salir corriendo a toda velocidad. Okay, that is speed away. Next one is ataque al corazón. Heart attack. Inundado. Is flooded. Extenderse. Is to spread. El fuego se extendió. The fire spread. Emergencia o urgencia. We know is emergency. Equipo de rescate. We know is rescue squad. Llevar una pistola. We know is to carry a gun. Piso superior. We know that is upper floor. Our last one is respirar. And we know that is to breathe. Okay, remember we don't do number 4. Okay, so let's look at lesson number 1. Maybe if it loads. Okay, so we have 4 conversations. Okay, we are going to listen to the 4 conversations. Listen to the conversations, then click on the correct pictures. Okay, so let's look at number 1.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a fire in my house.
What's your name and phone number, ma'am?
Marie Lopez, 555-0167.
What's your location, Ms. Lopez?
435 Elm Street. The fire is spreading. I'm trapped in the bedroom. I can't get to the front door.
We're sending help right away.
Okay, so let's look at A, B, or C, or D. What picture matches with number 1? Is that A, B, C, or D? go with B, okay? Ticket number 2.
911, what's your emergency?
I just saw a bank robbery at Oakdale Bank on Mercer Street.
What's your name and phone number, ma'am?
Rita Gomez, 555-0145.
What exactly did you see, Ms. Gomez?
2 men wearing masks ran out of the bank. They were carrying guns.
Do you see them now?
No, they got into a car and sped away.
Okay, so what picture matches with number 2? Is that A, C, or D? Okay, should we try D? Ticket number 3.
911, what's your emergency?
I'm calling from 232 Davis Street. The hurricane is getting closer. My house is flooded. I can't get out.
What's your name and phone number, sir?
Mike Jones, 555-0189.
We'll send a rescue squad as soon as we can.
What should I do?
Wait on an upper floor if you have one.
Okay, so which one goes with that? Is that A or C? C is correct. Okay, so our last one, number 4, let's listen.
911, what's your emergency?
I need an ambulance. I think my father is having a heart attack.
What's your name and phone number, ma'am?
Jane Hanley, 555-0176.
What's your location, Ms. Hanley?
17 Ray Street. Hurry. He's having chest pains and he can't breathe.
We're sending help right away.
Okay, so for number 4, we know that the correct picture is picture A. Okay, so we'll go ahead and check. We're correct. Good job. Now look at words 2. Okay, let's practice these words. First words are the car accident words. So let's look.
Bleed heavily.
Bleed heavily.
Bleed heavily. Crash.
Crash.
Crash. Flat tire.
Flat tire.
Flat tire. Towing service.
Towing service.
Towing service. Windshield.
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 Okay, now we're going to look at the words for fire. Okay,
Filled with smoke.
filled with smoke. Don't forget to be practicing these words with me. Filled with smoke.
Filled with smoke. Fire breaks out.
Fire breaks out.
Fire extinguisher.
Fire extinguisher.
Fire extinguisher. Firefighter.
Firefighter.
Firefighter. Put out a fire.
Put out a fire.
Put out a fire.
Next one are our hurricane words. Okay, first one is
Broadcast.
broadcast.
Broadcast. Escape.
Escape.
Escape. Evacuate.
Evacuate.
Evacuate. Flooded.
Flooded.
Flooded. Rescue.
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 Okay. Next words are home accident.
Break an arm.
Break an arm.
Break an arm. Break an arm. Break an arm.
Sorry, meant to click the next one.
Cause further damage.
Cause further damage.
Cause further damage. Home accident.
Home accident.
Home accident. Immediate medical attention.
Immediate medical attention.
Immediate medical attention. Injure.
Injure.
Injure. Injured.
Injured.
Injured. Injury.
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 Okay, next one is under general.
Arrange transportation.
Arrange transportation.
Arrange transportation. Conscious.
Conscious.
Conscious. Follow a rule.
Follow a rule.
Follow a rule. Headed in your direction.
Headed in your direction.
Headed in your direction. Imagine.
Imagine.
Imagine. Solve a problem.
Solve a problem.
Solve a problem. Unconscious.
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 Okay, let's get the practice.
Follow a rule. Follow a rule. Follow a rule.
Follow a rule. I'm not 100% sure.
Follow a rule.
Follow a rule. What is that in Spanish? Seguir una norma.
Solve a problem.
Solve a problem. Solve a problem.
Home accident.
Okay, I'm going to pause this for a second because I have somebody coming in here, so just give me a second. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to pause. Okay, I just wanted to make sure something was working correctly. Okay, so let's get back to our screen. Okay.
Home accident.
Home accident. Accidente doméstico.
Crash.
Crash. Crash. Chocar.
Injury.
Injury. Herida.
Bleed heavily.
Bleed heavily. O sangrar mucho.
Fire breaks out.
Fire breaks out. El fuego se produce.
Put out a fire.
Put out a fire. Apagar un incendio.
Flat tire.
Flat tire. Neumático desinflado.
Flooded.
And flooded is inundado. Okay, let's look at number 2. Crash. What is crash? Okay. Next one is imagine. What is imagine? Imaginar. Next one is broadcast. What is broadcast? O emitir, o transmitir. Filled with smoke. Lleno de humo. Headed in your direction. Dirigido hacia ti. Next one is injure. Herir. Next one is rescue. Rescatar o salvar. Injured. Herido. Solve a problem. Solucionar. Last one is fire extinguisher. Extinguidor de incendios. Okay, perfect. Now let's look at number 3. Okay. Parabrisas. What is that? Parabrisas. That is a windshield. Maybe right there. Rescatar o salvar. That is rescue. Extintor de incendios. we know is a fire extinguisher. Next one is lleno de humo, filled with smoke. Escapar, is escape. Seguir una norma. Follow a rule. Sangrar mucho. That is bleed heavily. Consciente, conscious. Emitir o transmitir, broadcast. And last one is injure o herir. Okay, so let's look at lesson 2. Maybe it'll load. There we go. So what would you do in these situations? Listen to the recordings, then choose the correct answer. So let's listen to number 1.
You are driving when your car gets a flat tire. What should you do? Call a towing service. Don't call 911. This isn't an emergency.
Okay, so let's look at number 1. Okay, do you call a towing service, use a fire extinguisher, or do you call 911? Call a towing service.
You are cooking when a fire breaks out in your kitchen. The whole room is filled with smoke, and you don't have a fire extinguisher. What should you do? Call 911 right away. You need firefighters to put out this fire.
Okay, so you call 911, you listen to radio broadcasts, or you call a towing service. You call 911, correct. So listen to number 3.
You are driving when you crash into a tree. Your head hits the windshield. You are conscious, but you are bleeding heavily. What should you do? Call 911 right away. You need immediate medical attention.
Call 911, listen to the radio broadcast, or use an extinguisher. I'm gonna call 911, right? Let's look at number 4.
You are cooking when a fire breaks out in your kitchen. It's small and you keep a fire extinguisher under the sink. What should you do? Try putting it out with the fire extinguisher. If you can solve the problem by yourself, then it's not an emergency. Don't call 911.
Okay, so use a fire extinguisher, call 911, or listen to radio broadcasts. Use a fire extinguisher. How about number 5?
A hurricane is headed in your direction. You want to know if you need to evacuate. What should you do? Don't call 911. Listen to radio and television broadcasts for information.
Listen to radio broadcasts, call a towing service, or call 911. Listen to radio broadcasts. Now let's look at number 6.
A hurricane has hit your town. Your house is flooded and you can't escape. What should you do? Call 911 right away. You need to be rescued.
Use a fire extinguisher, call a towing service, or call 911. call 911, right? So let's check these. Those are all correct. Good job. Now let's look at read. Okay, read and listen to the text, then click the exercise tab and choose true or false.
When to call 911? When should you call 911 for a home accident? It's important to call 911 in an emergency, but not every home accident is an emergency. Follow these rules. Call 911 if the injured person needs immediate medical attention or is unconscious. Call 911 if you can't or shouldn't move the injured person yourself. For example, imagine someone you know just fell and seriously injured his neck. Do you need to call 911? The answer is yes. People with neck injuries need immediate medical attention. Don't try to move the person, since this can cause further damage. Just wait with him until an ambulance arrives. But what if the person broke an arm? What should you do then? In most cases, you wouldn't call 911. Drive the injured person to the hospital yourself or arrange transportation. Remember, 911 is only for emergencies.
Okay. So, number one, every home accident is an emergency. Is that true or false? That is true. Not every home accident is an emergency. How about number two? You should call 911 if someone has a serious neck injury. True or false? That is true. Number three, you should call 911 when it is dangerous to move an injured person. Is that true or false? That is true. Number four, you should call 911 if someone breaks his arm. False. Okay, so let's take a look. Oh, I read this wrong. I put not every home accident is an emergency, but every home accident is an emergency. That is false. Not every home accident is an emergency. Okay. Let's look at now talk. Okay. The instructions say look at the picture, then read and listen to the two statements. Record the correct one. Okay, so here's the picture. Of course, we are not going to record ours, but we can still decide which one is correct. Number one.
She's unconscious. Call 911. She hurt her neck. Let's drive her to the hospital.
Okay, so which one would we use? One or two? We would probably use number one.
She's unconscious. Call 911.
Okay, next one. Okay, there's our picture.
She broke her arm. Drive her to the hospital. Her arm is broken. Call 911.
Okay, it would be number one. Okay, she broke her arm. Let's drive her to the hospital. Next one.
He's bleeding heavily. Call 911. He broke his arm. Drive him to the hospital.
Okay, so we will go with number 1. He's bleeding heavily. But our next one. All right, let's get number 1.
He has a neck injury. Help him stand up. He injured his neck. Call 911.
Okay, remember with neck injuries, those are very serious, okay? So instead of helping him stand up, you would want to call 911. So it would be number 2. And next one. There's a small fire in the kitchen. Get a fire extinguisher. Or the house is on fire. Call 911. Yep, it would be the house is on fire, so we would call 911. Okay, so that is actually the end of lesson 1, but we are going to quickly review our objectives. Okay, so for example, we had our objectives today were to identify different types of emergencies. Okay, we did that. We talked about bleeding heavily, hurricane, car accidents. Okay, those are all different types of emergencies. We talked about who to call for an emergency. Okay, for example, if a house is on fire, we are not going to, like, let's say the whole house is on fire, we're not going to try to use a fire extinguisher right away, okay? We're going to want to call 911. If it's a small little fire, that's something that we could use a fire extinguisher for, okay? And then last one is giving information to 911, okay? That would be telling them what kind of emergency it is, okay? For example, there's a small fire in the kitchen, okay? Or the whole house is on fire, okay? Those are all examples of detailed information that you're giving 911. Okay, let's see. Okay, so don't forget to complete the first 3 pages, which is lesson 1 in your packet. Okay, and tomorrow I will send you lesson 2. Remember, if you have any questions, please either send me an email, call me, or text me, whatever works. Okay, thanks.